business news from the Capital Region. This is Washington Business Report with ABC7 national correspondent Rebecca Cooper.
Welcome to your fresh look at business and finance in the Washington region. Coming up on today's show, we go one-on-one with Carly Fiorina. She was dubbed the most powerful woman in business when she ran Hewlett-Packard. Now is she running for office in Virginia? Plus, is your personal information safe? This week, 145 million eBay customers found out they'd been hacked. In our small business spotlight, a local company may have the answer using biometrics. And one of Washington's top business leaders is here to talk about this week's business headlines. But first, this week we go one-on-one with Carly Fiorina. When Fiorina was fired as CEO of Hewlett-Packard in 2005, London's Observer newspaper blared, "Headstrong, pushy, farewell to Fiorina." Yes, well before Jill Abramson got booted by the New York Times, Carly Fiorina became the poster child for women deemed too pushy and pushed out. But business experts now call Fiorina's determination to merge with compact computers brilliant and visionary. We sat down recently with Fiorina to talk about her career, her life now in Virginia, presiding over an innovative nonprofit, and perhaps running for office in the Commonwealth. Carly Fiorina, welcome to Washington Business Report.
Thanks so much for having me.
You are here on the stage in Alexandria, Virginia for an event that took place earlier today, the annual Alexandria Business Philanthropy Summit. You are the keynote because you are now the chairman of a nonprofit that's based here in Virginia, Good 360. What is Good 360?
Good 360, we are the largest product philanthropy organization in the world, actually. Who knew? Right here in Alexandria. We are a small but mighty team of 36 people. We have a great technology platform, warehousing and distribution and logistics capabilities. But what we do is take excess inventory or obsolete product from our great corporate partners all across America, and we distribute those products to 40,000 charities so that they can concentrate on serving people in need.
You're wearing many different hats right now. You continue to be a voice in the business community. You're now a very respected voice in politics. The Republicans continue to turn to you as a leader. You recently spoke, I couldn't help but noticing, in New Hampshire. You're going to run for president? Pretty much anytime anyone from this area goes to New Hampshire, it signals they might be running.
Well, it was an honor to be there for the Northeast Republican leadership. You know, who knows? But when people ask you questions like that, you sort of have to think about it. But the truth is, I think right now, politically speaking, I'm concentrating on 2014 because this is a big, important election.
I wanted to ask you about that. You were a key advisor to John McCain. What have Republicans done wrong to not be able to win back the White House?
Well, I think honestly that the term conservative gets miscast. And as we know from the polls, the Republican brand is not very strong these days. And the reason I say the term conservative gets miscast, I'm a conservative because I believe people make better decisions for themselves and their families than someone else is going to make for them. I'm a conservative because I know that centralized bureaucracies are always inept, ultimately. Sometimes corrupt, frequently callous, not because people in them are bad people, but because the bureaucratic process itself sort of crushes people's initiative, whether that bureaucracy is in business or government. I'm a conservative because I believe every single person has potential and that we need to lift people up so that they can fulfill their potential. And I think sometimes we in the party talk about big ideas and big theories, but we never connect it to an individual, to their life, to their chances and their choices, and to their potential.
That was one of the things you were known for as a CEO. Your book, Tough Choices, that I've read 3 times, it's a great primer on the business world, talks a lot about how much you believe in building teams. But at the same time, as you believe in building teams, you also use frequently the phrase change agents. How do you, in the business world, in the political world, build teams and still drive through change agents? It can be difficult to pull off both at the same time.
Well, first of all, I believe that business is all about people, every organization. is all about the people in it. And in my experience, every organization has more human potential than they generally tap. And so for a leader, it's all about unlocking that potential.
Throughout your career, as you were rising through the ranks and eventually became CEO of Hewlett-Packard and for many years named as the most powerful woman in business in the world, you were always described as tough. But in so many examples in your career, you're actually quite nurturing. You know, some managers like to rule through fear. Leaders help people get past their fears.
Well, first of all, I do think that I've been afraid of many things in my life, and I've learned that you overcome fear, and every time you do, it gets easier. But I also know that everybody's afraid of something, and fear holds people back. It holds organizations back. Maybe people are afraid of looking foolish. Maybe people are afraid of making a mistake. Maybe people are afraid of getting a demerit from the boss. All those fears hold people back. And so what leaders do is to say, no, this is worth taking a chance on, taking a risk for. If we make a mistake, we'll learn from it, not make the same mistake twice, and move on. But an individual and an organization cannot tap their full potential unless they overcome their fear. I do think that balance is the art of leadership. And what I mean by that is leaders have to have different qualities that they balance. So there are times when a leader, like a parent, has to be nurturing. There are also times when a leader has to be demanding, like a parent has to be. So it's both.
You followed your own advice and you worked through fear, and you took a very bold move at Hewlett-Packard when you proposed the $25 billion merger with Compaq. And now you go back, and the business press has done many postmortems and said it was brilliant. They've interviewed people and clients at the time who thought it was risky, who thought it was a bad idea, who thought it might undermine their IT. And there are so many quotes out there saying, we thought Carly was wrong, Carly was right. But it cost you your job.
So first, the merger was difficult to pull off, and it was risky. But by the time we proposed the merger to both boards, we had examined really every alternative. Hewlett-Packard was a company that needed to lead once again. And to lead once again, we had to be aware that the industry around us was consolidating. And so we could lead that consolidation, or we could fall behind and become consolidated. I think the point is this: anytime a leader takes on something to change the order of things, they will undergo criticism. In the technology industry in particular, if you're leading, by the time you do something, if it's obvious to everyone, it's probably way too late. You know, it's pretty obvious to everyone what Microsoft needs to do. It's pretty obvious to everyone what BlackBerry needed to do. It was pretty obvious to everyone what Kodak needed to do. By the time it's obvious, it's too late. And so when we took it on, it was timely, but it was going to get criticized because it wasn't obvious to everyone.
So clearly you're not afraid of big battles, but there was one big battle you had to fight that anyone would be afraid of: cancer.
Yes.
You fought it successfully. What CEO tools did you use to take on cancer?
Interesting. Well, first, like everyone else, when my doctor told me I had cancer, you know, you're terrified. You're terrified. Actually, battling cancer, it turns out, is a lot of risk-reward trade-offs. There's a lot of data out there. There's a lot of analysis. And so each cancer patient has to make decisions for themselves based on the data. And so I was very grateful that I had kind of an analytical background, grateful as well that
gathering the data and crunching the numbers?
Yeah, grateful that I had doctors who would give me all the information so I could make those choices.
You're living in a purple state, Virginia, Republicans, Democrats battling over important seats. Could you see yourself as Senator Fiorina, Congresswoman Fiorina?
Oh, who knows? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see where the future lies. But honestly, for now, what I believe is that I can make a difference in politics. I hope I'm making a difference in philanthropy and in policy. And I hope I make a difference every single day.
Carly Fiorina, thanks for joining us on Washington Business Report.
Thank you.
Coming up, the end to our password problems might be in sight, all thanks to a Fairfax company that's on the cusp of something big. Stay tuned for our Small Business Spotlight. That's next.
Yeah.